afternoon. Welcome in. Inching closer to opening day at the K. We will talk plenty of Royals baseball today, as we are going to go with over-unders. We did this for the Chiefs. We are going to do it for the Royals. We were pretty close to the Kansas City Chiefs over-unders on a lot of the topics. And we're going to do the same for baseball. We're going to go with pitchers tomorrow, the main hitters today, on some over-unders that, one, you can bet on, but also some ones that we think would be a good line in the sand to determine a good versus a bad season. We will get to that. We're going to talk plenty of Chiefs. We'll get to Matt Derrick coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk a little college basketball with the Final Four coming up this weekend. Brendan Dorzinski will join us for a little crosstalk. So lots to discuss. We will get to our odds makers, all of that coming up here on Mic'd Up. As always, hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. Want to give a big congrats as we have announced the winners for our Royals opening day tickets. The 4-pack is going to Ryan in Barryton, and the pair of tickets are headed to JP in Hutchinson. We had several registered on both 580 Sports Talk and Mic'd Up. So we appreciate you for listening. The good news is, this is not the only tickets we're giving away this year.
Oh, not even by the smallest thought of the imagination.
We are going to be like Oprah in giving away tickets like we did last year. So be listening if you want to head to the K for your chance for tickets, courtesy of Fulton Caster. Fulton is that nice of a guy.
I'm apparently the only positive one about this team around here.
Give you ticket.
Because I want to make it clear. I know this is not how this show is supposed to start, but I don't care. My entire point here with my positivity is this. It is infinitely more fun to think, maybe they'll be a little better than we thought. Then just sit in the negativity and go, like Chris Buich was named 5th starter today. Chris Buich will be the number 5 starter for now. It's even worded there to start the year because rotations change a lot. You need like 10 pitchers to go through a year.
Yeah.
And there are people, so you'll be like, it's Buich again. Oh, yeah. One, Chris Buich's spring has been excellent. 2, he has had flashes where he's not terrible in the past. 3, it's an entirely new regime to change everything over. Why do you all insist on being so negative?
It's not that we're negative. It's that
you're being negative.
No, it isn't. Because the way that the Royals have played, them making the playoffs this year is almost like me winning the lottery. Do I get bummed that I don't win the lottery, Fulton? No,
because you're not a moron. I said you're not.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So why would I get upset and get all excited for the Royals to go to the playoffs? Like, it's just, until it happens, I'm not going to be...
And this last thing I'm going to say on this, we can get to the stuff we want to get to.
But do you see what I'm saying?
I see your point. I will just add.
Yes, I'm not equating the Royals going to the playoffs like me winning the lottery.
And the last thing I'll say is, because we do have other actual stuff to get to today. The thing I'll say is this. I'm not asking you to be looking for them to look to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm asking you just to not, thinking your teeth are going to get pulled every time you watch this team take the field. I am asking you to find a little bit of positivity. It does not have to be to a level of like, they're going to win 86 games. I'm like, no, I understand that's crazy. But can you find positivity, in the idea of like, they might win 74, 75. I know that we should not, it's hard to find those things as positives, but that's higher win totals than they've had recently. That's a sign of development of the future. Then maybe we can look to the next year and be like, It could be a playoff team next year if they make the right moves. I'm just asking you to be positive.
It's like, hey, I didn't hit it out of bounds on the first tee,
God.
but I duffed it, 100 yards into the tall rough. I can find it. I'll be able to hit it, but
I'm just simply asking you to look at a glass and see that it is half full and not half empty.
The problem is that glass is not half. It's like an eighth. Fulton, I am optimistic.
No, you're not.
I am. I'm just very, very
absolute lie.
Less optimistic than years before.
Absolute lie is being said right now.
Years before. Yeah, I want them to win. And watching them, what happens is, hey, that's pretty cool. And blow up, bad base running. So we'll wait and see.
When this team is at the win total I want them to be on April 13th, and I win our bet, I'm going to feel so great inside.
I hope you do.
And I'm going to say neener for like a whole entire day.
And if they lose,
I'm going to crawl into a shell.
No, you're going to mow my yard twice.
Yes.
That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do.
Okay, let's get back on track here, I guess.
And my son's going to be like, Dad, why is he mowing crooked?
Hey, I can mow a yard straight and effective. I've mowed yards for years. That's how I did my entire summers as a kid. No, what the action moment is, you go, all right, son, let's teach you a lesson about don't write checks with your mouth that you can't cash.
We got a lot to get to, but we're going to start with today. I have a question to ask you, Fulton.
Hit me with it, Jake.
Would you rather have the roster right now for K-State or the roster for KU?
As of this stationary moment in time, I'd say K-State.
And I think you're right.
For one specific reason, and obviously that's the point of what we're going to get into here, is K-State has a lot more questions answered for next year than KU has. KU, as of this moment in time, now the questions will get answered because that's historically how they've done it.
Correct.
But K-State just has less unknowns than KU has, and if I'm having to pick one, I want to answer the one with more of those boxes filled in. That's what K-State is.
And I think you're right.
And plus,
how about that, though?
I agree. That. And the other part is this, too. It's not like I'm just saying, oh, K-State has more players set to be on the roster, so therefore take them. No, they're also good players. Like, I think that matters, too, because, like, if your thing is like, all right, one roster has 6 guys on it, one roster has 11, but those 6 dudes are all elite and those 11 guys are scrubs, you're going to take the 6 and go, I'm going to find a way. But K-State only has a pretty filled roster already for next year. They're all good players, which matters.
To me, Kansas State does have a better roster as it stands. I look at their roster right now with Johnson, Noel, Ijiola, Sills, and Green gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to assume Masood is going to come back, although he could leave because he could grad transfer. I don't know why he'd want to leave.
But hey, you never know.
To each their own.
Yeah.
And we don't know if all these guys are going to stay.
Yeah, some guys can leave.
Right now, none of them have entered the portal.
Yeah, so right now, based on the information we have, this is what we're going off of.
Right now, the biggest question mark is going to be at point guard.
Yeah.
They don't have a point guard right now on the roster, and we'll get to the incoming freshmen. But your shooting guard is Cam Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Your small forward is Naquan Tomlin and Ish Masood. Your power forward is David Gisan, and your center is Jarrell Colbert right now. That is your 5 guys, if you want to go with Naquan and Masood, but they've got 5 guys who are pretty much going to be on, at least in the starting lineup. Now, you got to assume that Colbert, the big man, he might come off the bench, obviously, and maybe they put Gisan at the center and Tomlin at the small forward and Ish Masood at the power forward or the small forward. Yeah. But you've got returning starter in Carter, returning starter in Gisan and Tomlin, and then your bench, they had 3 guys redshirt this last year.
Yeah.
Jarrell Colbert, who is a gigantic man.
Big and long.
Anthony Thomas, Taj Manning, but then also include Dorian Finister.
Mm-hmm.
And then off the incoming freshman class, a good one for Kansas State. Yeah. You've got Ames, the number 67th ranked prospect, who's a 6'1" point guard. He might be the guy.
Yeah.
You've got R.J. Jones, the 102 ranked 102nd ranked player, who's a 6'3" shooting guard, and then you've got Caleb Rich, who's a 6'6" small forward. He's at 147. So you got 3 guys in the top 150. That's 11 guys. You're going to get probably 2 transfers to get to the 13 scholarship limit.
Yeah.
And that's assuming that none of these guys end up transferring.
Yeah, that's doing the math of no one that is currently on the roster decides to leave.
And I will be surprised if everyone comes back.
Yeah.
Whether that is the player's decision or the coach's decision.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the whole little hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I think it would be best if you went elsewhere.
Mm.
Okay.
Which I will say real quick, for anyone who doesn't like the way that goes, that's how it's always happened. It is what it is. Because also, like, that can sometimes sound brutal, but also it's I want you to be able to go play somewhere and you just will not be able to play here.
Or we don't think you're good enough anymore. We're going to take your scholarship.
Yeah. And
they are year-to-year scholarships.
Yeah. And you just, and doing so, I think it is honestly the kinder thing to tell a guy, listen, if you want to play basketball, you're going to have to go somewhere else to do it. So then you let them go play hoops and not just toil on a bench and do nothing.
So that right there is 2, maybe 3 transfers that you are going to get for next year. The difference here is they've got no difference makers right now.
Yeah.
I think Tomlin could be that guy.
Yeah.
Tomlin, if he can shoot the 3 at a better clip.
Because what did he finish this year? Like 30%?
I believe that's what it was.
Like high, but it wasn't like in the gutter.
Naquan Tomlin this last year, he averaged for the season 10 points, and he shot 27% from deep. He is long. He's athletic.
He can put it on the deck. If Naquan can develop a perimeter game, he becomes a matchup nightmare.
He could be a difference maker. But as of right now, I don't see Gisan doing that.
No.
We'll have to. They're very high on Colbert.
They're very high on Jarrell Colbert. One of the reasons I think they truly wanted to redshirt him was they wanted to, kind of be able to work with him a little bit and get him ready. And
so
we'll see.
But you don't have a bucket getter right now. That's the biggest issue for K-State right now.
You need a guy who can go get hoops.
You don't know if one of those freshmen are going to turn into that guy. We'll have to wait and see. But they do at least have 3 starters coming back, and then a guy who came off the bench who played big minutes. That is what they've got. Now, you look at KU's roster.
A lot of work to do.
I'm assuming Grady Dick is going to go to the NBA draft.
Yeah, we're kind of making that assumption until we are proven wrong, which is the proper assumption we're making.
And we already know that Zach Clements, Bobby Pettiford, Yesufu, Cam Martin, all going in the portal, and you're losing Wilson McCullough and Grady Dick. So what you've got for KU right now is your point guard is Harris. Your shooting guard is I have no idea. Your small forward is who knows.
Yep.
And then your power forward is KJ Adams. And then your center is Ernest Uday. That, to me, is your guys that you know. You know 3 guys as of right now. And your bench, because these guys at least are still there, is Zuby, Rice, and then Cuff.
And I'll say this real quick. There is a legitimate universe where all 3 of them enter the portal within the next,
could be
moments of time.
Could be.
Which changes a lot of math.
For the freshmen, they're bringing in a good class.
Yep.
Elmarco Jackson, the 21st ranked player, a 6'3" point guard.
Presumably is going to start alongside Dwan Harris as of now.
He's the number 3 point guard in the recruiting class. You've got Chris Johnson, 6'4" combo guard, ranked 37th. McDowell, the 6'4" shooting guard, ranked 101st. And then the reclassification of Marcus Adams, who's a 6'8" forward, who's at 57th. This is where KU is going to go portal hunting hard, and what they're trying to do is that they are honestly kind of trying to take a playbook out of K-State's situation last year. They are trying to land their Keontae Johnson. That is what KU, to me, is trying to do, at this moment is get their Keontae Johnson, because it's crazy to think that K-State has a better building foundation for next year than KU. But the difference is that foundation for KU, I mean, Harris is a good role player. Adams a good role player. They need to find some dudes. They don't have, to me, same situation as Kansas State. They don't have a bucket getter. They don't have a Jalen Wilson. They don't even have, a McCullough. Now, if Grady Dick does come back, that's a big time boost, because then you've got your third ranked or your third starter, 4 starters. So you only need to find one other.
Yeah.
So I do think, but that's crazy.
It is
a different situation.
I will add
right
this.
Now.
This is not the first time KU has done this in the recent history. When KU lost to USC, Bill Self identified what was wrong and said, we got to blow this thing up a little bit, because he realized the deficiencies in this team and he put in work. Like, that's what's happened here again. KU realized, I mean, what did we say all last year? KU has 0 bench. It didn't exist. No one could do anything off that bench. There's a reason why pretty much all that bench is already gone. Like, KU identified, and I've done this plenty of times, and that's why, like, it's not the worst thing that they're doing, is they need to fix it. They took a step back, and in the era of the transfer portal, and given KU's stature as a program, they can go portal hunting to try to fix a few things.
Now, I disagree with you on they blew things up against USC. I don't think they did. I just think that was a very young KU team at that time, because they still had on the roster David McCormick, Christian Brown, Ochai Agbaji, and then Marcus Garrett. The problem was they were so young, and then Jalen Wilson was the freshman at that time. I mean, he played 9 minutes. Like, that to me is it. They just got beat and they just played bad. I mean, you got to remember, USC went 11 of 18 from the field. I'm looking at the box score.
So here's what I'm going to say to that.
Because they moved on from Bryce Thompson, but they still had.
But I guess my bigger point is it's not really blowing up, but they recognized the deficiency and immediately worked on solving it. Because if you think about the USC, and that season as a whole, the problem was they didn't have a bucket getter. They didn't have great shooting, and they didn't have a bucket getter because Ochai was playing incredibly inconsistent. Christian Brown had not gone to consistent force as well. Bryce Thompson wasn't the guy you thought he was going to be, and David McCormick was up and down. They knew David coming back would get better, and they were going to lose Marcus Garrett. And they knew what they knew. And then you look at the bench. The bench had a lot of deficiencies. KU knew they needed to at least get one, like, can get it guy, can go get buckets. They thought Ochai would get better, and then Ochai became what he became. Like, that helped.
And that's my point. When you look at it, there was only one guy who played minutes that was not back the next year.
And here's my
so that's why they did not blow it up.
I guess this is the better way to put it then. KU has recognized a problem and they're going to fix it.
Okay, that I can agree with.
And I guess the difference is that year after they lost to USC, the plan was we needed to get athletic and quicker and get more scoring. They did have not to get as many outside forces to help it because the guys in-house got better. And then you went and got Remy Martin.
So let me but my point is this year's KU team, like right now, do you think, Zuby is going to turn into Dave McCormick his senior year? Is any one of those guys going to be Christian Brown? No. Like, a lot of the guys on the roster right now don't have the pedigree of these guys did. That to me is the biggest difference when you bring up this unit.
I think you're right. But here's my 2 points. One, the reason we're seeing a bigger departure in the idea of we've identified a flaw and KU is going to work, Bill Self's going to work like hell to fix it, is the flaw this time was with more players than the fact that his entire bench unit sucked. Like, his bench unit was non-existent. And if that's the flaw he's identifying of we need more depth, well, it means you're kicking out more players. Like that's how it works.
I'm with you there, but you're comparing it to this year. I think I disagree with you there. The talent on the team right now compared to that unit is way worse than it was.
So
to
an extent, I agree with you, but at the same time, there are some differences and some similarities. KU is going to be fine. Like,
oh, I'm not saying that they're
and I know
worried.
you're not. It's more to other people. I'm saying KU's going to be fine. But that's kind of the idea.
They've got more.
They have work to do. Yes, they have more work to do.
More
but
work
that's
to do
not surprising
than they ever have had before. This is the most work that they've had to do in I don't know how long. Maybe since when you had all of the Wiggins and Bede and everybody who left.
And the era of the transfer portal makes it easier.
It does. Oh, for sure. We're going to get to that coming up, as well, as it's a different type of basketball right now when it comes to 2023, 2024. We're going to talk about Derek. We will get to plenty of Royals discussion, all that coming up here today on Mic'd Up. NFL news today. Are you down for the Chiefs trading Brandon Ayuk? Still got 2
trading
years.
For Brandon Ayuk? Oh, heck yes.
You still have the fourth year of his rookie deal and then the fifth year option. Then you're probably going to have to pay him. So what would you give up? To me, that's an interesting question. It's kind of like the Orlando Brown situation.
A little bit.
It really is. Coming up, we will get to more of that. We're going to talk with Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com coming up next. To Kansas City to talk with our main man. He is Matt Derrick from ChiefsDigest.com. You need to follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. Go to ChiefsDigest.com for all of your Chiefs news and happenings. Matt, how are you doing on this Tuesday afternoon?
Not too bad. I mean, we got baseball coming up this week, so this is a glorious week to be in Kansas City.
It really is. It really is. But we also get people complaining and crying about parking, which seems to be like the number one thing in everybody's life in at least Kansas City.
Yeah, but, hey, what are you going to do? I mean, it is what it is.
Exactly. So why are people just such crybabies about it?
I don't know. And when the Royals move downtown, it's going to be 10 times worse. So, hey, enjoy while you can.
People love to find things to complain about. That's my hot take. People just want to find anything to complain about.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's a rational take.
That's fair.
I guess I just don't understand it, I don't mind the parking situation. Really, really don't. Now, could it be more efficient, let's say, for a Chiefs game? Yes. That I will agree with.
Don't get me started on that.
That's the efficiency aspect of it and the cost of parking, to me, two different discussions, to be honest with you. All right, Matt, what's right now to you the biggest topic, question, issue for the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think I can safely say that at least the question I'm getting the most from people, and it seems like it's been the storyline around this team, is who's going to be the receivers? I mean, you got a couple right now on your roster that you feel pretty good about, but, do you have the 5 or 6 guys on this roster that are going to be your playmakers this year for the team? I don't know. I mean, there's still some work to be done, and I know that this team is going to, keep doing some work, but we're going to see. But that seems to be the one position group right now that is an uncompleted work in progress, and something that I know the Chiefs are going to work on.
Are you If you're a Chiefs fan, should you be worried about that?
Worried, no, because I think there's two parts of it. One is certainly that, like I said, Chiefs are going to still make some moves. I mean, there's bodies that they want to get onto the roster, and they're going to have more numbers. Quality of the numbers might be a question, but the other part of it I say is, I think last year, Patrick Mahomes proved that he is the kind of quarterback that absolutely can elevate the guys around him. And I think there was enough evidence there already, but I think last year with giving him an entirely brand new group and the way that he was able to, get those guys on the same page so quickly, I think it goes a little bit to his work ethic, but, obviously it goes to, I think, just his ability to take the guys around him and make them better. So I think you got to believe that, one, no matter what kind of room that Brett Veach gives him, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to get the most out of it. And two, I think that, give this team some credit for being able to find guys that can make a difference. I mean, I think you could even give them credit for, finding overlooked players. I mean, I think even last year, a guy like Reese Fountain that they ended up, letting go, I think he could have been on this team last year and made an impact. I mean, that's just, I think there's an eye for talent that this organization has, and sometimes it just takes a matter of time before these guys can show it. And once they get on the field, Mahomes is going to make them work somehow.
Alrighty, here I'm going to give you a trio of wide receivers and then another trio of wide receivers, and I want you to tell me which one you'd rather have. Okay?
All right, let's do it.
Alrighty. The first trio, Juju Smith-Schuster, MVS, McCole Hardman.
Okay.
This trio, Kadarius Toney, MVS, Sky Moore.
Ooh, very, very interesting. I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to take the second pair. Especially right now going into this season thing for 2023, which would you rather have? I think I'd have to have the second group.
Because isn't that what we're really discussing right now when people are trying to freak out about wide receivers is like right now and it's not, going into the year, it's we kind of have an idea of what these guys are going to do, but would you rather have Sky Moore or McCole Hardman? Like, honestly, I probably for this upcoming year, I'd rather have Sky Moore. So I think he's a positive. MVS, I'd rather take MVS this year because he's 1 year into the system. And then you've got Kadarius Toney and then Juju Smith-Schuster, which it's not as if Juju was lighting the world on fire with the Steelers. We all thought he was going to be better, myself included. And so that's why I kind of wonder why fans are freaking out a little bit, because that's essentially it's almost the same going into this year at the wide receiver spot. But last year people were excited about it, like that's why I'm not as, floored with, oh, we got to go get this guy, we got to go get that guy. The 1, 2, 3 wide receivers last year for the Kansas City Chiefs were Juju, MVS, and McCole Hardman. Like that was it. That was your guys.
Well, and to your point, I looked this up the other day to see how it worked in here. You take the players who were on the team last year at this time and their numbers in 2021. So the previous season coming into last year, and this is literally as of March 28th, a year ago, who was on the roster. That group of receivers in 2021 had 105 catches, 1,284 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I mean, that's the number one receiver, but we were talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys who were on the roster. And that was their totals for the previous season. Because remember, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Really, your only two guys that had any production were Hardman and MVS. And the only other receiver of that group that they had on this roster, 12 months ago, right now, Josh Gordon was the next most productive guy.
Gordon.
I mean, Justin Watson, remember, was coming off an injury season, so he didn't have anything. Right now, the guys who were on the roster last year, let's see, I think we've got 89 catches for about 1,300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, the production is almost the same as far as the players that you have on the roster right now. So I'm with you. I mean, you take a look at where this team in the room was last year at this time, and remember, Sky Moore wasn't even on the team last year at this time. I mean, I think it's pretty comparable now, and I think they're going to add to this. I mean, last year at this point, I mean, they'd already signed Juju, so there wasn't a lot more coming. But I think this year, hey, there's a few more names out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made a trade. And hey, if you added a first-round wide receiver, I think you'd also feel differently.
Alrighty. When it comes to OBJ and D-Hop, I'll ask you this because I asked you this last week. Do you think still one of them comes to Kansas City?
I'm less optimistic than I was a week ago, and my optimism level has shifted. A week ago at this time, I'm pretty sure I was on D-Hop train, that I thought there was the most likely there. That's changed. I mean, it certainly seems like the Chiefs have unless something drastically changes, have bowed out of the DeAndre Hopkins conversation. Your guess is as good as anybody about what's going to happen with Odell. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are expressing an interest in him, but once again, coming off the injury and not playing last year at all, there's a disconnect, I think, between what obviously Odell wants and what teams are willing to pay him. And he's going to be at the higher end of some range, but it's going to be at the end of the team's range. Because I don't think that Odell's going to get the contract he's looking for. And eventually, I think he's just going to have to decide what's the best situation for him. And if that means the most money, I'm not sure the Chiefs are going to outbid some other teams for him. If he wants a good situation, then the Chiefs are probably in the conversation.
Do you think there's any other free agent wide receivers that would be, like the Justin Watson? He's still out there. He hasn't signed yet. I thought he was a good number 5 option, to be honest with you. Do you think anybody else out there would be even in the discussion?
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see what the Justin Watson situation is. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't signed somewhere. So it does make you wonder why, but that absolutely, I mean, for the right price, I think the Chiefs would absolutely have to be interested in that. And there might be some other names. I mean, there's certainly a few players out there who have been a little bit productive. I mean, now you start looking at the guys who are younger and maybe under 30, and how many are productive. Now you're probably kind of projecting a little bit on them. But I mean, I think there are still some guys, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs really, at this point, some of their free agent acquisitions might be really, betting on the come, in the sense that you're talking about guys who have maybe are younger, 24, 25, maybe they're the Maurice Fountain type, that have been around for a while, but injuries or something like that just haven't clicked yet. Those are the guys I could see finding their way to the Chiefs.
We're talking with Matt Derrick. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick, also ChiefsDigest.com. When it comes to NFL meetings, Brett Veach as well as Andy Reid, they briefly spoke. Did they say anything to you that piqued your interest?
I haven't seen or heard anything that really stood out to me. The owners' meetings aren't usually, to me, very productive as far as getting any breaking news out of the Chiefs. So I don't think there's anything that's been a really major surprise. I mean, I think that it's just kind of just to reinforce that, hey, the Chiefs are going to continue to look at some things. They're not done yet, but I don't know if there's anything significant on the horizon right now.
Is there the date, and I don't know the date, where it doesn't affect your compensatory pick? What date is that, where if you sign somebody after that, it doesn't count? What day is that?
I believe this year it is May 9th.
Okay.
When, free agents don't calculate into the equation. And you're right. I mean, that's a pretty significant date. And there is a point when free agency just absolutely drops off, because, teams don't want to do that. Now, it's not going to affect some things. Like if the Chiefs want to keep one of their own free agents, like a Justin Watson, that's not going to, impact the compensation for them. But if they want to pick up somebody else's free agent, then that will affect the picks that they could get next year, and would absolutely maybe cause them to think, hey, maybe we can wait until after May 9th to sign these guys.
And that's what I was wondering about, maybe a wide receiver or another defensive lineman or another defensive end going forward. If no one's signing them right now, then maybe, if you're not in a huge hurry and it's not a must-have, I think that's kind of the plan.
It certainly could. I mean, and you're right. I mean, it seems like it's earlier and earlier every year that kind of calculation starts affecting things. And, for the Chiefs right now, looking at their, what they've lost versus what they've picked up, they'd certainly be in line for some compensation. So I think that's definitely a factor. And that's why, to me, if they're going to go get somebody, it's probably going to be somebody who just is not going to calculate into that formula. If they didn't play much last year because of injuries or anything, I mean, they're not going to have much free agent value in the compensation formula. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, would you rather have Robbie Anderson and a seventh round pick? Sure, if you can get them both, then why not wait until May?
Chris Jones contract extension. What do we think? Is it going to end up in June, July, like they always do? And I kind of wonder why they wouldn't do it before free agency so that you can clear up that cap space for free agency. To me, they do it kind of backwards.
Yeah, and and that's the thing, is that there's a lot of things that sometimes calculate into this. I mean, it's agents know how to play the game too. So if the Chiefs have a ton of cap space, Chris Jones' agents are going to say, okay, let's have a lot of you've got plenty of cap room right now, so let's put a little bit more guaranteed money into 2022, or maybe a little bit bigger signing bonus. Those absolutely go into the calculations. And the Chiefs, when they're out shopping, they usually like to have a pretty small salary cap so that they can make that argument that maybe they need to push the money back a little bit. All the teams do that, so I wouldn't be surprised that that's part of the calculation. I think the Chiefs obviously would rather have something done sooner than later. I think Chris Jones's camp is comfortable with anything. I mean, if they feel like that they're better off with more leverage, getting closer to training camp, maybe that's in their best interest. There's usually a lot of deals that get done in July, so it wouldn't surprise me if this does end up getting pushed off, but I still think more likely than not something gets done.
Do we know that the Chiefs, and I'm not wanting just, word salad, because the Chiefs, we really want something done with Orlando Brown. We really, really do. I mean, they had no interest in meeting in the middle. This is a hard line in the sand. There was zero interest in actually trying to get him signed. They put a number that was low, and we're not budging from it. That's not trying to get a guy signed, in my opinion. They've never given out a big contract to someone over at 30 years old. He'll be 30 years old next year. Do we know that they do 100% want to bring him back?
I'm as close to 100% as I could be that they want to bring him back, and part of it, I'll even go back to what Brett Veach told us at the combine. I mean, we talked about it a couple of times. He was I think pretty thoughtful and truthful with what he said about three different guys. With Frank Clark, hey, it was, well, we'll see. With Orlando Brown, it's an option. With Chris Jones, it was, yeah, we'd like to get something done, and we know Chris Jones wants to be a Chief forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot more definitive. So I think even with the little things that the Chiefs have said, I think that the indications have been there. And the other part of it, too, is that if they had any reason to, want to move on from Chris Jones, now would be the time to trade him. And there's been zero whispers around the league or anything about Chris Jones being on the market.
By the way, Chris Jones will turn 29, beg your pardon, on July 3rd. Fulton, when were you born?
But yeah, you're still talking about a long-term deal, a 3-year deal with pushing into his 30s. The Chiefs just don't usually do that.
I was born January 3rd, Jake.
January 3rd. In what, 1996? 96. How about that? Just 2 years. Chris Jones only 2 years older than you, man.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, about that.
Again, this is my usual reminder to everyone here, and in case you didn't know this, Matt, Patrick Mahomes is only about 4 months older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both doing the exact same level of great. We're the same level of guy, nothing different.
Yeah.
Same level of life.
Exactly. Precisely.
Exactly. All righty. Our last two for the road for you, Matt. Very simple. What's one of the new rules that you're interested in?
Good question. I mean, actually, I think for the most part, I hope most of them fail. I wouldn't. I think there's probably some formula of the pretend onside kick play or anything like that I would like. Not sure the one this year that's on there. I don't think I would be a terribly big fan of. The only one I think I really am okay with is bringing punts out to the 25. It's never made sense to me that kickoffs are to the 25 and punts are still to the 20. So I think that would be okay. But there's some of the others. I mean, there's nothing else that I think makes a whole lot of sense. And even I'm not necessarily even a big fan of reviewing the roughing the passer because, to me, I think I think it's not going to solve a lot of the problems with it. And if anything, it's just going to slow the games down even more. And who needs that?
Mm-hmm. All righty. Lastly, our list today coming up next hour. Today is National Food on a Stick. What is your favorite food on a stick?
I mean, and I say it's kind of on a stick, but I mean, corn dog is probably a pretty basic one, but I always like a kebab. I mean, especially the more meat, the better. But at the fairgrounds back in my hometown, they used to have a pork chop on a stick.
Pork chop on a stick?
Yeah.
What?
And the pork chop palace was the place to be. Yeah, at the fair.
Pork chop?
Yeah, pork chop on a stick. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I will always go for a pork chop on a stick.
I haven't had a pork chop in a while. Pork chop, very underrated piece of very underrated food.
Yeah, pork chops are delicious.
Yeah,
Matt,
very
that's
underrated.
a good call with the pork chop on a stick.
Yeah, very underrated, and pork chop on a stick is very rare. So if you get an opportunity, go for it.
Matt, you're the best. We appreciate it. Go get yourself a pork chop on a stick from Pork Chop Palace.
I am now hungry for pork chops. So thank you very much.
All right, Matt, we appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
Pork Chop Palace. That place sounds awesome.
Yeah, the pork chop palace. This sounds like a place I would love to go.
Now, when we talk about food on a stick,
yes,
can you just put like any food on a stick? Like, does that count?
These are the rules I would like to present. Anything we commonly know is a food on a stick, obviously allowed. Corn dogs, popsicles, ice cream.
So my question for you.
The point is, I will say, if you've had the random thing on the stick, like Matt's had pork chop on a stick. So Matt can say pork chop on a stick. He's had it. You can't just tell me, you want this thing on a stick.
Like, I can't. So that's the reason why I don't know. I don't know if that counts. Because I could be like, oh, I want a Wagyu beef 8-ounce filet, and I'll just shove it on a stick. That's my food on a stick. That doesn't count.
No, but like Matt's had a pork chop on a stick.
I know, but they basically just shoved it on a stick and said it's on a stick.
Oh, that's fair. I think that's a fair point. I think it's a fair point of contention.
It ain't like a corn dog.
I agree. It is different than a corn dog.
I don't know why I'm so passionate about this, but I am.
Listen, I want everyone to know that this came up just by me randomly Googling stuff today, and it has devolved into apparently a very contentious list topic.
We're going to get to it.
We will. You can see what Jake and I think are the best foods on a stick.
That has to be legit.
Yes. No, I agree. Okay.
You ready? The other one has to agree
that it counts?
That it counts.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you are at the mercy of the other one.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I'm always at the mercy of your decision making.
No, I feel like the majority of the time we're both
we're usually on the same page.
Like it's not egregious. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I am
too.
We got lots more. We're gonna get to some Royals over unders. We'll talk with Brendan. We'll talk food. We'll talk sticks. All that coming up here on Mic'd Up. To Mic'd Up with Jake and Fulton on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Royals baseball coming up on Thursday, opening day at the K. Royals, Twins, Zach Greinke on the mound. Congratulations to Ryan and JP, winners of our Royals opening day tickets. But never fear, we will be giving away plenty of tickets coming up. Just be listening to 580 Sports Talk and Mic'd Up. You got a chance to win Royals baseball tickets. And if you're really nice, we'll give you like a parking pass. Only if you're nice, though.
Yeah, you got to be really nice to us.
You got to be nice.
We don't get people being nice to us a lot, so sometimes we got to kind of force you guys to be nice to us.
Exactly. That's why I forced Fulton to be nice to me.
I think it should be the other way around there, big guy. If anyone here is the other one not being nice to them.
But I do it like laughingly get 15-yard penalties. I get 15-yard fouls. You know. But also when you go like on a fishing trip and you don't catch any fish, you're an easy target.
I'm just going to clarify this for the upteenth time. That was not a fishing trip, I learned, which means it doesn't count.
Okay.
It was a family vacation, which I was annoyed about because I was there under false pretenses. I still had a great time. It was a fun trip. We went to a cave. That was real fun. Have you ever, we're already off the rails again.
Sorry.
Have you ever gone to like a cave museum tour, like they take you through a big underground, like vast cave system?
Yes.
Or is that not cool?
It's cool.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's cool, but on a level of what?
On a level of nature is amazing, and that entire thing is made by the world.
Yeah. I just know that the way you said it, like, man, I got to go to a cave.
It was awesome. Plus, also, when it's like, 120 degrees outside, but caves are their constant average temperature of like 60, that felt fantastic.
this the way that you're like, man, owls are awesome.
They are. Listen, if you nor our listeners have not learned, I am the biggest nerd of this group. Brendan can challenge me on a few things, but I lap circles around all of you. So yeah, caves, cool. Owls, cool. Falcons, a really cool bird. Bird watching in general, a fun time.
This is where you lose me there, man. Like falcons, yeah.
Have you ever gone bird watching?
No,
it's a good time.
I'll go here. Tell you what. When I'm gone Thursday and Friday, and I'm out, I'll when I'm golfing, I'll look up for some birds. How about that? All right. Is that bird watching?
No.
I was walking.
You have to identify the birds. You have to try to identify the birds. I have 2 great apps that can help you.
And that I won't be downloading.
I know. It's sad.
We got Everyone Loves the List. Brendan will join us here as well. We got our Royals over under.
Brendan would appreciate the bird watching comments. I think. I don't know. He'd probably make fun of me just as much. Who knows?
I think he would. I think he would. Right now, though, college basketball. I hope people are ready for the social media post where it's like a new record for players in the basketball portal. I hope people understand that. This is where we are at right now in college basketball. Transfer portal and transfers playing, get used to it. Okay? There are 4 teams in the Final Four, and then I also included Kansas State, and I included KU. Okay? So we'll look at those 6 teams. All right? Kansas State. Every single one of those guys is a transfer guy. Every one of them. Every single player they had, transfer. I get it, Jake. That's a brand new coach. All right. Let's look at KU. KU's 3 best players. They are who? Well, they were Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick, and Kevin McCullough. Those are 3 best players.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the 3, transfer portal. K-State, everyone, transfer portal. To be determined next year on who K-State goes after, it could be the same situation. 2 of their 3 best players could be transfer portal guys. Don't know. Have to wait and see what happens. Let's look at Miami. Hurricanes. 2 of their 3 best players, transfer portal guys. Fun fact, Nigel Pack. Isaiah Wong, high school guy. And then Jordan Miller. He was transferred from George Mason. So 2 of the 3 best players for Miami were transfer portal guys. Let's look at San Diego State. Their 3 best players are Bradley, Trammell, and Ledee. Bradley is high school. Trammell and Ledee, transfer guys. 2 of their 3 best players coming from the transfer portal. Florida Atlantic. Their 3 best players. John L. Davis, high school. Martin, high school. Golden, transfer portal. One of the 3. What about UConn? Their 3 best players. Sonogo, high school. Hawkins, high school. And Newton, transfer portal. You could go on and on and on throughout this entire NCAA tournament and point to teams are getting guys who transfer. Look at Alabama. Their best player, Brandon Miller, high school. Second best player, Javon Quinterly, transfer portal. This is college basketball right now. And for folks who, if you don't like it, I understand it. It is a little different because this isn't 1995, 96, 97, or even 2005, 2006, 2007. That's not how it is anymore. It's grow with the players, right? Hey, you know what? I want to be someone like a Mario Chalmers who comes in as a freshman, then sophomore, and then leaves as a junior. I want to go with the Morris twins if you like the Morai. If you want to go with like Thomas Robinson or that route, like KU normally didn't take a lot of transfers. Transfer portal opens up. Look at what has occurred. Those are 6 of the 4 of the teams left, but 6, 7, 8. I mean, you can go Texas transfer portal. Like, that's just what this is. And we're going to have to get used to it. And a lot of people are not a big fan. And maybe that's one of the reasons why people are not fully, grasping following your team anymore. And that's the one thing that has been fun about KU is they have always seemed to have a lot of guys that you can grow with the program, right? Yeah. Be invested in. Same thing like K-State football, right? You get, Deuce Vaughn from the very beginning all the way up. Skylar Thompson starting it all the way up. Avery Johnson coming up all the way up. Football, it's not as big because one guy in the transfer portal might not make that big of a deal. Your base has to be homegrown high school guys for football.
Basketball is a very special sport in that one guy can truly alter the entire course of what you're doing. Other sports, that just doesn't exist. Football, I mean, an elite quarterback transfer could help you to a certain level, but they still need something around them, and those are your 2 primary sports. And I mean, smaller sports where we still don't get a lot of this, it still, applies, baseball is a sport in general. It still applies, even things like soccer, it still applies. But with these 2 big sports, basketball, their transfer portal is more prevalent because you can just, you can be a player away, grab one really good guy from the portal, and all of a sudden you make that jump because it changes everything. And
that was kind of KU last year with, hey, you know what? We've got Ochai, we've got Dave McCormick, we've got Christian Brown, we've got DeJuan Harris. Oh, Remy Martin.
Yeah, and that was the spark KU ended up needing to make the run, and it worked. It's not bad. And the thing is, like, because I see people with either pros or cons, they like the portal, they hate the portal. The thing is, like, all of these guys are transferring for different reasons. No 2 guys really transfer for the same exact to a T reason. I mean, some of them, it's the current situation is not working. Some of them, it is was recruited to play at a low to mid major, and I am performing so well and know if I want NBA prospects, I need to go to a bigger place to showcase. I want to do that. It might be I was recruited low to mid major. I'm doing really well. I have a chance to maybe go win a national title with, a bigger school. I'm going to go do that. A lot of these still the exact same thing it's always been. My coach or coaches that recruited me, which are why I'm here, left. So I have no reason to stay because
you're not playing, and I just want to play.
It's also true of, like, a guy comes to a place, wants to whoever was Province's big star this year, I am blanking on his name.
He transferred from Kentucky.
Yeah, he was at Kentucky originally, liked being in Kentucky, but he didn't play. And it became when he was just like, he knew it wasn't a fit, it wasn't working. He went to Providence, who originally recruited him. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know, it was like he went back to a place that he'd thought about going to before, went there, had a great year this year, and really got to showcase himself. That's another great reason. And then people are when they see a kid recruit to commit, kids sometimes recruit to the program. There are times at that. More often than not, no, kids are recruiting to coaches. And I know that rubs some people the wrong way. There's some people that believe, you come to play for this school, you need to take pride in this school, and you're here for the school and school alone. I got a real big news flash for you. That's not how things work nowadays, and you need to accept it. And sometimes these kids leave because their coach leaves, and they wanted to play for them so bad, they're just going to go wherever they go. Caleb Grill is a pretty good example of that. Like, when he went to UNLV, it was to go play for TJ Otzelberger. Then he went back to Iowa State, and Caleb was like, I'll go back to Iowa State because I want to play for TJ. You know, those types of guys exist, and it's this entire new era to where I think it's good. I think everybody deserves a one-time transfer because you're asking 18-year-old kids to make such a big decision and say, nope, you are locked into that for 4 years. Give them one mulligan. Give them one mulligan.
We know everybody's thought on, or my opinion on the transfer portal and everything like that.
Your opinion's very well known on this subject, as I think is pretty much everyone a part of the 5A sports team.
If the general chemistry student who's on a chemistry scholarship wants to transfer and go somewhere else and be part of the chemistry program and doesn't have to sit out, why should a basketball player? I don't see the difference between chemistry and basketball. It's a skill, something that you develop, something you work on, something that you put time in. I don't see the difference.
Yeah.
Now that being said, sometimes you need to put rules in place to protect the product.
Yeah.
Right now, name, image, and likeness is going to Congress because they do everything right.
Yeah, they don't screw up, quite literally almost everything they put their hands on.
So why would I want to trust someone in our government? And it's not forget the entity, okay? Let's just say that, hey, we're going to make people who don't even get involved in sports
make a sports
decision. Why would I trust anyone? That would be like, you ready for this? Fulton.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make new laws on bird watching. Sounds pretty dumb, right?
Yeah, because you don't know what you're talking about.
Why would I want someone who is not even involved in the situation, who is way outside of their expertise, is 60 years old, and not even remotely in it? Now, I'm not trying to, go after the geriatrics here because, you know what? There's a lot of people who are above 60 years old who happen to know the game of basketball pretty damn well. And if they
looking at you, Jim Larinaga,
like, hey, let's go see what that guy has to say. How about we do something of that nature? Hint NCAA. Like, that's the problem I have right now.
Let basketball people make basketball decisions, and you and I have said this both many times. The NCAA is reaping what they're sowing right now because they had a chance to get in front of all this with NIL. They had a chance. They could have set guardrails and a system and an overall top-down rule set in place from day one. They didn't. They actively chose not to. And this Wild West that everyone talks about, you all brought it upon yourselves. And I'm not against trying to fix it. Now, I think there's a fine line between fixing it and trying to go back to the old way of controlling everything.
Correct.
And that's where I worry and where I believe we will go, letting Congress get involved. This is not fixing it. This is, we're going to basically try and make it to where this stops being a thing anymore. Not in the line of like, oh, NIL goes away forever. It's going to be, no, we're just going to try and make this as back as much to the old way as we can, which I think is not fair. Like I've said this time and time again, you should let athletes profit off their likeness because I think that's the bare minimum we can let. Mm-hmm. If a guy gets popular, let him go do a car commercial for a local car company. Why is that wrong?
It's not.
That's what I've always said. Someone explain to me, why is that not okay? We all talk about all we want about letting, companies do what they want to do. If, a company wants to, and the other thing is this, for everyone wants to talk about like try to make the NIL be like some kind of boogeyman. Look at how many stories we have of kids using their NIL money for good things. That's not all of them. There are certain, there is different stories, everything, but so many large chunks of these stories are guys, either just it's for themselves, but they're still trying to do good things with it. Guys that have, Grady Dick used some NIL stuff to start do a little bit of a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club in Wichita.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have guys that you have players helping out their fellow players. You guys got running backs constantly using their NIL money to take offensive linemen out for different things. It's all these little things that are like NIL at its core, I think is actually a good thing and has led to good things. Do I think maybe we need to work on some boundaries? Sure, because nothing's perfect on the first draft. The first draft's always crap. But letting Congress do it just means what we're trying to do is go back to the old way and try and take this way as much as we can. Because NCAA wants control. They don't want athletes to have power.
Coming up, we will get to plenty of Royals discussion, including maybe the new Royals location. I really don't care where it's at downtown.
Me neither. Not really. I just want it downtown, honestly.
Well, it is. It's going there.
I know. So that's why I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
We'll get to some over-unders. We'll get to all that. Coming up next, though, our favorite foods on a stick. Of the list on a Tuesday, it is very simple. Today is National Food on a Stick Day. So food on a stick. Alrighty, Fulton, what is your top four?
My number four is a very simple one. Give me a good kebab, a little bit of kebab. Preferably beef.
You just call it a kebab.
I did call it a kebab.
Come on.
Preferably beef, and then I like a little bit of bell peppers to be roasted with it. I think that's the good option. A little bit of onions on there too is usually pretty good. I think that's a pretty good standard kebab. But I'm not usually too picky about the kebab selection. I just need meat and a veggie. Don't give me all veggie kebabs. Don't do that to me. That's wrong.
Number four to me is a cake pop.
Okay.
Cake pop.
Okay. I think cake pop's a good choice. I think cake pop's a good call.
Yeah.
Have
those all over the place. Cake pop.
Number three for me, the classic childhood summer treat on a hot day, the rocket pop.
The
little
rocket
red,
pop.
white, and blue rocket.
The grilled steak and shrimp kebab.
Oh, that's a good one.
Steak, shrimp.
Yeah.
Shrimp. Put it on the grill. But it's got to be grilled.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's got to be grilled. Got to be grilled.
Got to be grilled.
Oh yeah, the best kebabs are grilled.
And it's got to be outside.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm talking about.
I feel you. No, I feel you. I feel you on that.
Number 3.
Take it like a fair, which is the best time to have cotton candy.
Okay, real quick. It does count.
Yeah.
1000%. Cotton candy sucks. I will die on that hill.
Wow.
Cotton candy is trash.
All right. It's okay. You don't have a childhood. It's fine.
No. Hate cotton candy. Hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Do you know what they call cotton candy in England?
Terrible.
That's not what they call it. Do you actually know what they call
I
it?
have no idea.
Can't. Fun fact.
Just
Fun fact.
Number 2 is the Dairy Queen Dilly Bar. God, I love the Dilly Bar.
Dilly bars are good. Honorable mention for me is the Dilly Bar.
Yeah.
I never got to enjoy them at halftime of KU games, but
Dilly Bar.
Dilly bars are a thing. Number 1 for me. It's a classic. It's a staple, and I eat far too many of these in my entire lifetime. It's the corn dog. I have eaten far too many corn dogs in my life.
It's a very specific corn dog. And it's number 1 for me too. The corn dog at an outdoor festival.
Yeah.
You get like the big giant corn dogs. You can't eat a corn dog like.
I will unashamedly admit that I've eaten
No.
far too many corn dogs than a human should have in their life.
No, like you can't eat a corn dog like today for lunch. I will.
I didn't have a corn dog.
No, I'm just saying, but that's like
I know. I feel you.
corn dog at a festival.
Yeah,
the best.
Yeah,
It is good. Coming up next, Brendan Dorsinski will join us here for a little crosstalk. Hour, we will get to our Royals over and unders. If you remember, we did this for the football side of things. And not to, brag, but Fulton, we were pretty damn accurate on a lot of our over-unders.
I would also like to remind everybody that for my bold prediction for the NFL season, I was off by 2 sports writers, sure being completely correct. I will find them, I will hunt you down, and I will ask you, why were you stupid?
Fulton, it was a good, bold prediction, but it was not correct. What you're saying there would be like, I had a 50-leg parlay, and then 2 of them didn't hit. So it didn't hit.
Yeah, I know it didn't hit.
Okay.
That's what I've said. That's why I have a bone to pick with those 2.
Okay.
Just like I got a bone to pick with the 2 legs of a 50-leg parlay that didn't hit. I have a bone to pick.
First of all, if you have a 50-leg parlay,
seek help.
And you've got 2 of them are the only ones, and you have a chance to cash out, you got to cash out.
Yeah, you're cashing out at that point.
You got to cash out. I am team cash out if you have a 50-leg parlay and
48 of the 50 have hit.
And you know that. Now, we didn't know that at that point.
No, we didn't.
I wonder what the odds would have been for unanimous MVP at the beginning of the year.
Good question.
Because MVP, we both got,
yeah.
We bid on that. And I got it plus 850. You got it plus 900. I wonder what unanimous MVP would be.
That's a question.
That'd be pretty interesting. Right now, though, we're going to bring in Brendan Dorzinski from 580 Sports Talk. Brendan, my first question I have for you today is National Food on a Stick Day.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your favorite food on a stick.
There's one answer, and it's pork chop on a stick. This is not. See, there's the thing. Like the list, I feel, and it's your show, but I feel like the list should be something you can debate. There's no debate. It is pork chop on a stick, and then it's everything else.
Well, see, I've never even heard of pork chop on a stick.
You got to get to some like pumpkin fests. You've got to get to some like
I go to
those places that have like the corn mazes and they blow up the pumpkins and stuff.
I've been to 3 of them this year. Trust me.
Gotta go to another.
When you got kids, they love that stuff. None of them had pork chop on a stick.
You ever been to like a state fair?
Yes.
You can get them there.
I've never I've never had one.
And it should be covered in so much barbecue sauce that it is impossible to not get it like all over your face. Like one bite, I got sauce like in my ear. I got it up my nose. You need that much sauce on it.
Okay.
You're giving me more reasons to maybe not enjoy the pork chop on a stick.
Oh, man, it's so good. Bankston's Pumpkin Farm in Lamont, Illinois opens for like 6 weeks a year. And they blow up pumpkins and you go on hay rides and you eat pork chop on a stick. I think there are food shacks that only have that. Oh, it's so good.
I'm not going to lie to you. What was that? You said Bankston's
Pumpkin Farm.
That one is not quite sounds as good as the pork chop palace that
Matt
told us about.
I would happily go eat at the pork chop palace.
I do have to ask you on the pumpkin thing. Did you say, I want to start this correctly, blow up pumpkins?
Well, not really blow up, but they will attach them to like a trebuchet kind of thing. They'll just put a little pumpkin in the basket at the end of it.
Oh, a little pumpkin chucking.
Yeah, and you're riding in your little truck with the hayride or whatever. And they're like, hey, look north. And then everyone looks, and then you see a big pumpkin get thrown and blow up. It's awesome.
Okay. I just had to know, were we like launching pumpkins and exploding on one impact? Were we putting explosives in a pumpkin?
No,
I had to
chucking
know.
them.
Okay.
Just
Little
launch
pumpkin
them.
chucking.
Want to see it explode.
I'm all right with that. Who doesn't love that?
It's fun to watch a trebuchet launch a pumpkin.
That's a real guy thing. Like,
Yeah.
I want sports and stuff exploding and pork chops on sticks.
My son really enjoyed the apple blasters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
He enjoyed that. You put the apple in the the souped up,
Yeah.
and it shoots out and the
Yeah.
apple goes everywhere and you can see the moistness of the apple on the target and everything. Like, he had a big fan. He was a big fan.
Yeah, those are fun.
Shocker there. Little boy likes things that blow up, right? Big surprise there. Alrighty, Brendan, would you take KU's current roster or K-State's current roster right now?
I would say,
and we're assuming Grady Dick is going to the NBA draft.
Oh, yeah, that's not an assumption. That's a fact. Wait,
he already announced it?
No, but anyone who thought he was coming back is a fool.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I said I'm going under the assumption that he's gone.
I would probably, man.
First of all, the fact that you're discussing this goes to show you kind of
here's the reason why.
right now.
Both teams have a big guy who has like limitless potential. Like Naquan Tomlin's ceiling is best player in the Big 12.
Yeah, he's
and
6'10". All he has to do is shoot the three better.
And I think, if he can shoot the three better, I mean, he could be a true program great. And I think Gasson has a little bit of that too, because I think there's a lot of untapped potential with him. On the other side, though, Ernest Uday could be the same kind of player. Like, he could be a true great rim protector, under the basket offensive kind of weapon. I think he has that. I'm going to lean Kansas for two reasons. One, they've got the best player of either team in DeJuan Harris. And two, I think Elmarko Jackson is going to be really, really good as a freshman.
He's not on the roster right now.
Well, he technically is. He's signed.
If you're going to play basketball right now, like with what they've got,
he's their two guard.
No, he's not. He's not there. Like he'll be there in the fall.
Well, yeah. You don't play back. Okay. So we're talking like literally 4 players for KU then.
Well, that's like
well, then, yeah. I mean, if
they
only have like 5 players, then sure, I'll take K-State.
And so that's.
But if we're talking about the guys that they are also at, like I was considering for K-State, that includes Michaela Britch, that includes Day-Day Ames.
Mm-hmm.
For KU, that includes Elmarko, Chris Johnson, Marcus Adams, and Jabari McDowell.
So the fact that it's this close, I would take Kansas State because I am going to go with at least the known commodity.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know enough about Elmarko, and I have no idea. Maybe Jalen Wilson coming in, didn't see a whole lot of time early on. I know he broke his leg.
I was going to say he broke his ankle,
but you say like
that kind of matters.
It's hard for me to determine freshmen.
Yeah,
unless they are, see, to me, like the evaluators missed on Grady Dick. Like, to me, he should be ranked higher than what he was because he wasn't a top 10 recruit.
No, he was top 25 maybe.
Yeah,
yeah.
To me,
He was a low 5-star if I remember.
Like, The dude was 6'8", can get his shot off and makes everything. Like
National High School Player of the Year.
Yeah, like what are you missing out there? So, but I to the point to me of both of them, K-State's got a better foundation than KU,
Mm-hmm.
but neither one of them has a bucket getter.
No, you're right about that. Yeah, and that's
they've lost all their bucket getters.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think both teams are hoping that one of their freshmen are going to be that, or at least are an option to be that their first year. For KU, it's El Marco. I do think he is starting, by the way. I do think he's going to be their off-ball starting too. And I think it's Michaela Britch for K-State. I think
he's the lowest rated one of them.
It might take a while for him.
That?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But like Ames, I don't think is a bucket getter. Whereas I think Rich has the ability to be that. I think Rich is underrated as a recruit.
All righty. Is the title game Miami versus UConn?
Probably. Yeah, I would say probably. The biggest wild card here is San Diego State. I don't even know that San Diego State is better than FAU, but the way San Diego State plays is so frustrating. Like I could legitimately see UConn, who I think is going to win everything. I could see them struggling against San Diego State, even though they have superior size. That slow down, physical, every possession is a wrestling match kind of style is really hard to put up numbers against. And UConn's done a great job against everyone else of putting up numbers. But if San Diego State plays that defense and they can actually make shots, like if Matt Bradley can actually do something offensively, I think San Diego State could give them a game. But that all being said, UConn should be is the betting favorite. Then it's Miami, and then it's a steep cliff before you get to everyone else.
Final four. Okay. We think UConn wins it. Okay. But let's say they don't. Let's say they do. We don't know. Let's just go right to this point. If UConn does win it, are they a blue blood?
No. Dan and I discussed this yesterday, and here's the reason why. They are already, because they've won 4 titles in 23 years.
Yeah, 99. Was it 99? Yeah, 99. Yeah.
They are the new bloods. There's the blue bloods, there's the new bloods. The new bloods are really 2 programs. It's UConn, it's Villanova.
Okay.
Those are the new bloods. You could make an argument, if you wanted, Duke does not belong in the blue blood category based on my definition of it, which is you've always been good. Like UCLA has been good for the better part of a century.
Correct. North
Carolina, same deal. Kansas since 1909 or whatever. Like those are programs that have been good forever. Duke was okay before Krzyzewski showed up, but they've really only been a powerhouse since 91, 90?
90, yeah.
Yeah, which is a lot shorter than those other teams. I would say it's KU, Duke, North Carolina, probably UCLA would be in the blue blood category.
Well, yeah, they have to be a blue blood category.
Yeah, I would say so. They just haven't had nearly as much success since the good days.
I mean, they won a title in 96. They've been to plenty of Final Fours recently.
Yeah, so they would be in that category.
Howland took them, to the Final Four a bunch, and then they were just in the Final Four 2 years ago.
Yeah, so UCLA is in that category. So that's the 5 to me. And then you've got the new ones, which Villanova, their success has been great, but far more recent. Connecticut, really within the last 25 years. And then you have the lapsed blue bloods like Indiana.
Where's Kentucky?
Oh, I missed Kentucky. Yes,
okay.
Kentucky is in there too. He is also, or they are also in the main category.
Okay.
I think it's a length thing for me. It's not necessarily the girth in this situation, the total number. It's the length of how good they've been. Do you have a thought about that, Fulton?
I think that's a good way to put it.
I saw that face.
I mean, Villanova they won the tournament in 85.
Yeah.
That was their first national title.
Yeah, that's true.
I can see what you're saying there about Villanova.
I think that's a good way to separate it out too, because I think it recognizes the teams that are been great as of recently, but not that historic. So
why don't, when we talk about good basketball programs, we don't say UConn?
The theory Dan came up with, because we did again talk about this a little bit yesterday.
I didn't catch that.
Is that they're good, I mean, their peaks have been as high as anybody. I mean, they have got more titles already than anybody else has since 99 when they won their first one.
Correct.
They also had not even been out of the first weekend of the tournament since 2014. Like, they just go through these long stretches where it's just, they're nothing.
Well, they didn't make the tournament for 4 straight years.
Yeah, like, they have these peaks and valleys that those other programs really don't have. Like, during the right year, I mean, obviously Villanova took a huge step back this year, but during the right years, even though they got bounced a couple of times early, they were always one of the best teams in the Big East. They were always a contender, at least in the latter right years. KU, obviously, same deal. Duke, Kentucky, even though they've had some problems, same kind of deal. Connecticut just kind of disappears for years at a time and then comes back and, hey, championship. So I think that's why. They're less kind of, they're not in the public consciousness as often as those other programs, I think.
I got you.
Yeah.
The fact that they won the NCAA tournament under Kevin Ollie in 14.
So funny.
Missed the tournament, lost second round, missed the tournament. Then in 2020 was the COVID year, but they went 19-12, 10-8 in the American, and according to Ken Palm, they wouldn't have been in.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been in.
So that's wild that they missed the tournament 4 straight years. It really, really is kind of wild. All righty, Royals baseball. Catch it.
I'm just going to sit in my corner over here.
Real quick, can I just mention something real quick? Fulton, did you hear from Dan about there's some wager you can make about like the Royals and someone else having 80+ wins this year was like plus 1,000 or plus 700?
I have not heard about this. Depends on who that other team is.
Yeah, I don't remember who the other one is.
It needs to be higher than plus 700 for me to do that.
Yeah, I said
that's a terrible bet.
Dan and I were talking about it yesterday, and I said you should tell Fulton about that. He might take
you ready for this? That means that right there. If it's plus 700, the Royals have a better chance of going 500 or winning 80 games than Mahomes did of winning the MVP, and that is laughable. Laughable.
Which one does that say? Which one was more wrong, though?
The Royals.
Interesting.
Fascinating.
I was expecting you to have the same.
No, like the fact that in order for me to even think about putting a dollar on that number, it would have to be plus 2,000.
Okay.
Interesting.
The Royals winning 80 games this year.
I mean, I'm not saying I would do it because I would not, because I think the Royals are going to stink, but it is out there.
All right,
that's fair.
We are going to go through our Royals over unders.
All right.
We did this for the Chiefs season. We were very accurate on it.
I heard.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to give you a few, and you can give us the over unders for this Kansas City Royals team. Okay.
All
right. We are gonna we'll just start with the easy one. Bobby Witt Jr. Over under, and this is legit. Some of these we make up ourselves because you cannot find those.
All right.
Some are legit. This one is legit. If you want to wager, you can. Home runs, over under, Bobby Witt Jr., 22.5.
Ooh, I am going to go with, man, that's a great number. Fangraphs projection has him at 22. I'll say over.
Vegas is not dumb.
I'll say over.
You can say over. Okay. Then we are gonna scroll on down.
That wasn't an easy one. That was a hard one.
Something like an easy, like over under.
Oh, okay.
You know, that type of thing.
All right.
Alrighty. How about this one? You ready?
All right.
Salvador Perez. Over under. Games DHing at 50.
Again, to reference yesterday's edition of 580 Sports Talk, Dan and I came to a consensus that we think 50 is the number of games that he's going to DH.
Did you really?
Yeah, we did. We did some math. The number of games he plays.
Because he did 40 last year and he missed a whole bunch of time.
Yep. That's incredible. I will say, you know what? If Matheny and Moore were still around, I would say under. With a new staff, though, I'm going to go over. I will say over 50.
Okay. All righty.
His numbers were slightly better DHing than catching last year.
Yeah, they were.
All righty.
Oh, boy. Jake is salivating.
Nicky Lopez.
Oh, God. Under.
Brendan's groan.
Under.
OPS plus. Okay.
Okay.
60.
Oh my God, 60. Oh, mercy. What was he last year?
58.
58.
50.
His second highest OPS plus in a season.
But the year prior to that, it was
I think 104?
103.
103.
Yeah, but that's one of the fakest seasons of all time.
No, 100 Osiers.
I don't know, but I think Nicky's might be
Ooh,
even
that's a
faker.
great
No,
topic.
listen, I'm willing to go do a deep dive on the data on this that would probably end up proving correct. Nicky's is fakers than Hunter's. The way...
Dude, his OPS pluses in his career. He's played 3 full seasons.
Yep. Just bask in this, Brendan.
51, 104, 58. Like, I'm not going to make an accusation. Was he juicing? Like, where would that come from? How is that possible?
Hunter Dozier's the same situation when you look at the back of his baseball card. By the way, Hunter Dozier hit a home run.
Hunter just hit home runs back games.
Like, yeah. I was just reading something today. There's a picture that went viral yesterday of this woman who's a Kings season ticket holder in the NBA.
Yeah.
She's been a season ticket holder since 2007. Their playoff...
So she missed the fun window.
Yeah, their playoff drought, I believe, began in 2008.
Yeah, that's when, they had Weber and Bibby and Divac and who else was there? Peja.
So they this woman got to ring the bell before the game, like, hey, applause to our season ticket holder. Thanks so much. And this guy was like, this woman has seen some absolutely horrible things.
Awful basketball.
And a bunch of people were in the replies saying, like, man, she saw way too much Ben McLemore and Thomas Robinson and these, I mean, KU greats, but not great NBA players.
No.
And people were like, man, Kings fans used to argue about this. Like, sports talk radio and like water cooler talk was about these bums. They were about Nick Stauskas. Like, those were the dark days. That's this for the Royals. Like, we're in ideal situation, like 4 years from now, Bobby Witt's a perennial all-star. Pasquantino's hitting 30 bombs a year. They have like a competent pitcher. And you think, man, remember when we used to talk about Nicky Lopez? Oof, man, those days suck.
No, see, I don't think you're right now because it hasn't been long enough. Like, 2001 to...
Yeah,
like that
2001 to 2012.
Yeah, like Emil Brown, like, come on, man. Ken Harvey. Scott Redmond was our all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
like,
great.
That was like the time,
happened.
like if you were a Royals fan, that it was.
Happened. Also, just want to add to the fakeness of Nicky Lopez's 2021 season. His batting average on balls in play was 347.
Just slightly out of the ordinary.
Just a little bit,
Nicky
on the stratosphere.
So what are you taking, over or the under?
Under.
Okay. All right.
Under.
All right.
It makes me queasy.
But remember, Fulton, this was Dynamite Baseball Team. Coming up next, we're going to talk Royals baseball with our over-unders here on Mic'd Up. The final hour of Mic'd Up on this Tuesday edition. Thank you so much for joining us. Jake LeBon along with Fulton Caster. Inching closer towards opening day, the Royals are in action as we speak. And they are winning 1-0, courtesy of Hunter Dozier. Home run Hunter Dozier. Back-to-back games for a big fly for the starting third baseman of your Kansas City Royals. Will they announce the opening day roster tomorrow? Because they have the workout tomorrow at the K.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think that's when they're going to announce the opening day roster.
It'll either be tomorrow or they'll do it Thursday morning to try to give as much time to figure out the roster moves, because they're going to have to more than likely DFA 3 players.
And not, I think, more than likely. I think likely.
Well,
Like, they will.
If all the reports are true,
Yeah.
like, and we are, again, there's no reason not to believe so. So, like, it's a 99% chance that they are going to DFA 3 players.
Mm-hmm.
But until we see it, it is still you have to assume. Like, we don't see it yet. So I would say either tomorrow afternoon or Thursday morning. I don't know what the deadline is. Like, I don't know what MLB's deadline for rosters need to be finalized is.
I'm going to guess before 3:10. I don't know specifically, but that would be the deadline, I would think.
Well, yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But that is something to keep in mind. Royals are up 1-0. Brady Singer, 4 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 5 Ks. Brady Singer. We do know who is going to be starting the first 3 games for the Kansas City Royals. Fulton, are you excited? You're going to the game on Saturday this week. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And you're excited because the Royals are going to start Zach Greinke on Thursday. And by the way, congrats to Ryan and JP. They're winners of our Royals tickets. We'll be giving away a bunch of more tickets as well for other games, not opening day. But are you excited for the rotation coming up against the Twins? Are you feeling good about that? Brady Singer, since he's pitching today, will not pitch against the Twins, folks.
No.
He is not going to pitch against the Twins. So if you want to watch Brady Singer pitch, he's going to pitch coming up against the White Sox?
Should be the Blue Jays.
Or Blue Jays.
Right now.
No, you were correct.
Yep. When they take on Toronto in the second series of the year.
So are you jacked that your boy, Mr.
Do
Lyles,
not call him that.
is going up against
Do not call him that.
Sonny Gray?
There are many reasons with which I am excited to go to the K on Saturday. Partly because I get to go see baseball in the first weekend.
We didn't get that last year.
No, we didn't. We truly didn't. Like, we got to remember, we had a lockout last year. So like, there's many reasons I'm happy about. I'm not going to lie to you. When it was announced that Jordan Lyles was going to be starting game 2, which was the game I'm going to, I can't lie, I was a little sad.
I thought
That's what I had to watch.
Springs eternal. I thought, why are
Hope
you
does
being
spring
negative?
eternal, and I still think they could win that game. The fact of the matter is, though, Jordan Lyles has a over 5 ERA and 1,300 career innings, so there's not a lot of hope for that.
Yeah, but that was all in Denver.
It was not all in Denver. He's played for multiple other teams.
I got nothing.
Listen, I hope Jordan Lyles is better than I expect him to be, but there's a lot of optimism I have around this team. Jordan Lyles is not part of that optimism. I think Jordan Lyles, like, my expectations for Jordan Lyles is, can you eat up a crap ton of innings, and can your ERA not be over 5? If he can do those two things for me, roaring success. Even if that means the ERA is like 4.92, which isn't great. Can you keep it under 5? And can you eat innings? So that way, there's a spot where innings get taken over and you're not going on like 5 every time.
Okay, so you want him to go under 5.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever done that. I'll be real honest. I don't know if he's ever done that.
All right. Okay, let's do a fun game. How many Royals pitchers last year who started had ERAs under 5?
2. Mr. Zach Greinke, Mr. Brady Singer.
So, I mean, for the Royals, an under 5 ERA?
Oh, amazing. What it's worth.
It's like, not, Fulton, real quick. What you're asking him to be is the third best pitcher on last year's team.
Yeah, because last year's rotation was historically awful. Like, no, we're gonna go into this again. That's a bad measuring stick. Like, it's a bad faith measuring stick that you're using. Of like, I want to be the third. Like, yeah, compared to last year's team, in theory, I'm also thinking that guys are better this year.
Not everybody gets better.
I know. I understand that. But you can't just go, last year would have been third best. He's going to be third best again if he does that. No. He could be. There's a universe that exists where that is third best. So it's a universe where it exists where that's 5th best, where it's 4th best, where it's 7th best.
I just find it hilarious that you're like, unless he's under 5, it's trash. Whereas that means Heasley, Bubich, Lynch.
We're all trash last year.
Why are you yelling?
Because you're making it seem like I acted like those guys had great years. No, Daniel Lynch sucked ass last year. Jonathan Heasley, absolute crap garbage last year. Chris Bubich wanted him shipped off to Siberia last year. I'm not going to lie to you, they had good years.
But hold on. But you were just as excited for last year as you were this year.
Because I do this exercise every year.
There we go. I've proven my point.
For what it's worth, can Jordan Lyles do for me this year what he did last year? He's not going to do what he did last year. Last year, 4.42 ERA in 179 innings. He isn't doing that again. I would be stunned if he did. But if he did that, roaring success. Because that's my expectation for Jordan Lyles entirely, because he's pitched 1,300 innings.
Okay.
We know what he is. Okay. Whereas, which I understand, people are going to hear that and go, well, what all you're positive for the Royals young guys? Yeah, there's a reason I can be positive about that, dudes. There's a reason I can be positive about Chris Bubich not wanting me to ship him off to, the corners of the earth this year, because he's got new instruction and he's young.
Yeah. Your spin zone is good, man. Your spin
zone is good. Spin zone, though.
Gotta, whatever, you gotta spin it, all right? Let's go through our overs and unders.
Yes.
Fulton, you got to keep track of these on where we're going to go so we can keep, whether or not
I got you.
I'm over, you're under.
I got you.
That type of deal. All righty. We will tell you the official, what you can wager on. Okay. Home runs. 22.5.
For BWJ?
Bobby Wood Jr., over or under?
I'm gonna go over on this one. I think he gets over. I don't know if he gets to 30. He gets more than 22 though.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I think it's over. I'll take the over. You had 20 last year. I'm gonna go with the over. Stolen bases, 35.
Give me that over. He had 30 last year, and he could barely get on base at times. I think he gets on base more this year, which therefore he's going to run more this year, which means he can get 5 more.
I'm with you. I'm over as well on the stolen bases. I think with the bigger bases as well, those ones that he's just so close. That's what I'm going to go with too. All right, hitless streak. Will Bobby Witt Jr. have an 0 for? And I'm putting the line at 16 and a half.
Okay. And we're going at bats here, not games or anything like that. We're going at bats, right? Or we're going games.
Goodness, I hope it's not 16 straight games.
I also don't, but we need to clarify the number. We have to clarify. I know. We're clarifying for the fans. We're clarifying for the listeners.
Oh, it says here at bats.
I know. I'm clarifying for the listeners.
Yeah, at bats.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
so he's up there, and then Ryan Lefevre or Jake Eisenberg is going to be like, wow, Bobby Witt Jr. 0 for 16. And he goes to the plate.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say he's under 16 and a half. I think he will not go longer than 16 at bats without a hit at any point this year.
That's essentially 5 games.
Mm-hmm. I think Bobby's going to be good enough that every 5 games.
That's a good number, though.
I think that's a very good number. I think every 5 games, Bob can poke a single through the side and get on.
I'm with you. I'm an under there. Yeah, walks don't count, errors don't count.
So Jake and I fully lockstep on Bobby Witt Jr.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. I just think he's got so much potential.
Yeah, no, that's me too. I think I think instead of a sophomore slump, he's going to take a leap forward.
Let's go MJ Melendez. You cannot bet any of these. These are all just made up here.
These are Jake constructions.
I put the same line that if Bobby Witt Jr.'s is 22 and a half, I'm going to go with MJ Melendez is 22 and a half.
Okay. I got one. It's not like I gotta stick with my kind of thing I've been proposing all year. I think it's over. I think MJ is gonna have a good power year.
Will you take an under on any of these?
I literally just did take an under on something.
Well, that was more that's more like.
Yeah, don't worry, Jake. I got some unders coming.
Okay, all right.
Do not worry. I got some unders coming.
Technically, the under in this situation is positive.
It's still. I mean, he could get 20.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I know.
Are you going with? Yeah. I'm going all.
No, I'm going with actual numbers here, and I think MJ can get to about 20. I think if I had to put a specific number, I think MJ gets between 25 and 27 this year.
Okay. I am going to take the under on this, and this is more of I'm going to need to see it to believe it.
That's That's fair. I can respect that. I can totally respect that.
We're going to go walks because he
got a great eye.
He did a nice job with that. Didn't play the whole season. I'm going to go over under 75 walks.
Since I don't believe he'll have, if any, regression on the plate discipline, I think if it would be a small regression. I'm going to go over because if you put to his 162 game average last year, he would have had 83 walks. So I think even with regression, he would still get over. So that's the math to the over for not thinking, I just think everything that's the math there. He can even regress and still get over that mark, I think.
A lot of these numbers also factor in on the biggest aspect on all of this is injury. If you go on the IL for any portion of time, you're not hitting these numbers.
Yeah. Health matters too.
Because you said if you extrapolate it over
162 games.
Well, let's say he only plays 140.
No, I agree.
He ain't gonna
fully.
Get there.
And I'm going to be positive on health, but that is always kind of a wild card.
Yeah. I'm going to take the under on walks for MJ Melendez.
Mm-hmm.
Take the under. Alrighty, now here's a fun one. It looks as though the Royals are not going to carry a backup catcher. The backup catcher is MJ Melendez.
Correct.
Games catching MJ Melendez.
Mm-hmm.
I put it at smack dab in the middle. 80.
So this is one of the first ones I kind of grapple with a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of putting my own thought into this and what I think the Royals should do and what I think they will learn to do. But God, they're not carrying a third catcher.
For now. Don't put too much emphasis on opening day
I'm going to go
roster.
under. I'm going to go under because I think they're going to learn. Because same principle. He had 71 games catching last year in 129. So you would think pulling that out, he would go over. I think they're going to learn outfields where he needs to be. I think eventually they're going to bring up a third catcher to give Salvi more days off and not have to do this to MJ. I'm going to go under. I think they're going to start the transition this year because I think he should be an outfielder.
I'm going to take the under as well because I'm with you. I think he'll be in the outfield. And then I do think they will bring up a third catcher at some point in time. I don't think
that's a good point to remember. The roster we see coming up on Thursday is not at all what's going to be the entire year. Because it's one day out of 100 and blah, blah, blah.
I think this baseball team's going to be built a little differently. We're going to get to that coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
All righty. Salvador Perez. This is legit. You can bet on this. Over under for Salvador Perez, home runs 28.5.
Oh, this is a good number to put it at. This is a really good number to put it at.
Vegas did it, so
yeah,
understandable.
Yeah, Vegas knows what they're doing.
I'm going to take the under on this.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm going to take the under on this is until Sal can play a full season, I'm going to take the under.
I'm also going to take the under for the similar things. The body's kind of been betraying him a little bit as of late. I don't know if he's going to get enough games to get there. If he plays the full season, he's got a real good chance because he went 27, 27, 48, and then last year even injury shortened 23. But I think I'm going to lean under because I think he's gonna need some rest this year, and injuries might happen too.
He's projected 27 this year.
That's not a bad number.
Okay. All righty. We will continue with Salvador Perez. Over under 80 RBIs.
Give me over on that for Salvi. I think the Royals offense takes a step forward this year. I think Sal's right in the middle of that. Even if the power numbers aren't there, I think we're going to see a lot more non-homer generated RBI from Salvi this year, even if he has to miss some time. I'm going to go over.
He's had over 80 RBIs how many times in his career?
Over that number?
Yeah.
Should be just the one time.
One time.
He's been at exactly 80 before.
I know. That's
but he went over once in the 120, and then he had 76. But he got 76 in injury shortened time last year. I don't think he's going to miss as much time this year as he missed last year. So yeah, I think that's going to work there. You going over under?
I'm going to take the over.
Okay,
I'm going to take the over with Salvador Perez and his 80 RBIs. All righty, games at DH. I'm going to put the line at 50.
How many did he have last year?
40.
Okay. That's what I thought. And also because I was like, I swear we said that earlier too.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the over. I think the Royals are going to start learning they need to start putting him at a DH more. And plus, this is a new coaching staff that wants to be versatile and do different things.
If you're taking games at DH over 50, but you're taking the under on MJ Melendez.
That's where we have to get creative, and all of that thought for me hinges on, can Freddie Fermin do enough at AAA to warrant the call up, and can Freddie Fermin do enough in his short sample times at the bigs to allow them to keep resting Salvi and not put MJ back there? I understand these two are kind of at opposite spectrums of each other.
I think it's more so about, do they think MJ Melendez is going to play all 162? Because if Salvi's at DH, Salvi should almost be 50-50 catching DH. And if he is, then that means your young, athletic, upcoming guy is going to be flip-flopped around. I wonder if it's not the best interest for Melendez just to stay, because if it's 50-50, that means he's 50% behind the plate, 50% in right field. I think that's too much.
No, I agree.
So that's why I'm with you that they're going to move MJ and just say you're a right fielder.
Yeah, I think at some point the roster numbers will make sense for them to bring up another catcher.
Yeah,
and that's going to work. So you're going over under on DH.
I'm going to take over. Okay. I'm going to take over.
That's what I thought.
I don't think that they are Ned Yost nor Mike Matheny.
No, this is a new staff that understands, maybe give Salvi's body a break, especially because Salvi won't give it a break.
And I don't think he's going anywhere. So they need to keep him fresh for the next couple of years. Because even if Salvador Perez behind the plate, Salvador Perez, 50% at DH, 50% behind the plate, hits you 30 home runs. That's a very quality person, very quality player. Vinny Pasquantino. I said the same one because they were all right about the same. Vinny P hit 18 home runs last year. MJ hit 19. Bob hit 20. So I'm going to put Vinny P home runs 22 and a half. There's not an official line on this that I could find. And if I probably did plenty of digging. Here's where I will start here. I'm going to go first because I am high on Vinny P.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
I think he is going to have a dynamite year. I think Vinny P is going to be the bee's knees. I am going.
You
Vinny
and
P.
your rhyming lately.
A lot of rhyming books right now that I'm reading.
Oh, I wonder why, Jake. I wonder why you're reading a lot of books that have rhyming in them, not rhyming.
Because I have almost a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old.
Yeah, that tracks. So this is it's such a great question. It truly is.
Hit 18 last year.
He had 10 last year.
Who
MJ had 18.
Yeah, MJ had 18.
Vinny had 10.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of jump. But I mean, Vinny also only played 72 games.
You double that.
If you put it 162 game average, he'd have 22 home runs.
Oh, and what do I have it
You
at?
have 22 and a half. So like
Man,
you're right on the right number here.
Let's say that again.
You're right on the right number here. I'm going to say this, and I do not want this to be taken as if I'm being negative.
Negative.
I'm taking the under. I've said this before.
Vinny Pasquantino officially not your boy.
Vinny's current swing profile is not one that leads to a billion homers. So
I'm not looking for a billion.
I know what you're looking for.
23.
So I think I think he gets to like 20, 21, or 22. Going over into like the mid 20s is where
the hook.
The hook, essentially.
Ooh.
Like, I'm not seriously like, oh, Vinny's gonna get 13. I think Vinny gets to 20. I think he does. But I think Vinny has more, like, I still think Vinny leads team in RBI. I will add that too.
I'm going to tell you
Vinny leads this team in RBI.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to wager.
Okay.
Vinny Pasquantino, anytime home run, game 1, Thursday.
Okay. Please do. I hope he does.
Yeah.
I'd love him to.
Alrighty. OPS, which is your slugging plus your on base percentage. You combine that. That is how often you get on base, which is also including in your batting average, plus how hard you hit it. Do you get extra base hits? Anything over 800 is really
dynamite.
Good.
That's
really good.
Anything over 700 means you're not. It means you have power in general. Like 700 is the mark of like, can you drive the ball at all? 800 means you got the lumber.
I think anything over 850 is you've got the lumber.
Fair. That's fair. That's a fine place to put it.
Because like a guy like Lorenzo Cain, he had in his best year. I mean, he was always around 800.
Okay, I see your point.
I would not consider him.
I see your point. I accept it.
Big lumber.
Yeah, I get you.
But last year, Vinny P had 830.
830.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Over under 850 for Vinny P.
Give me the over. Give me the over.
I'm going to tell you this. He had an on base of 383.
Yeah, I know. That's insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
His slug was 450.
Yep.
You're taking the under, though, on home runs.
Yes.
But you're going to take the over on slugs. So you think he's going to be a doubles machine?
Yes.
Ooh.
He's going to hit. I think Vinny could hit reasonably 20 home runs and like 40 to 45 doubles.
So you're going with the
like
shift
that's
is
like
going to help him out.
Like, I think his power is going to be some
Anti-shift.
good homer numbers. I think he's going to have a lot of doubles this year.
Okay.
And then I think, like, he has such a good eye. He is such a patient hitter at the plate.
He had one more walk than strikeout last year.
Like, his
72
walk,
games.
like, and the thing is, his walk rate was 11%, which is, like, good, but not, like, elite.
Mm-hmm.
I think that walk rate's going to go up.
Well, if
that's my other part to the OPS is I think his on base percentage is going to go up.
Okay.
Based on, I think he's going to have a chance of being much more patient.
383 was.
I know. But that's also, remember, his batting average is 295, though.
Yeah.
I think he could hit near like 295, 290 again, but his on base could rocket into the fours because he starts walking more. That's how it works.
I'm taking the over because I think his power is going to be there.
Which I mean, it's a entirely fair way to do it.
That's why I'm going to go with that one. All righty. Triples.
This is purely for fun.
Triples for Vinny Pasquantino. Over under
1.5.
1.5.
It's under, man.
I did the digging on this.
Oh boy, Jake did research. That doesn't happen.
Okay, that's false.
Jake
I
does
do.
actually do a lot of research.
In his minor league history,
How many triples did Vinny have?
he had 2 almost every year.
Oh boy.
I'm taking the over.
Jeez.
Get that Italian
This should not surprise
bod
anybody.
going.
Vinny doesn't move quickly. He's not a fast man.
He did not have a triple last year in 72 games.
No.
But he had every minor league year, his last 3 years, he's had 2 or more triples. So I'm going with that. Alrighty. Now we are going to go to Hunter Dozier.
The Doge.
Over under 15.5 homers.
Hit 12 last year, 16 the year prior, 15.5. You know what? We're gonna play the positive game. I'm gonna go over. It might be because he hits 16, but we're going over.
I am taking the under.
Fair enough. Also, I'm gonna keep with the belief that Hunter can play just well enough to get traded at the deadline, which would benefit all parties.
His batting average. Over under 230.
I'm going to keep playing my game. If I want him to play well enough to get traded, I'm going to take the over. Again, this is all I needed to be good enough to get off my baseball club. Which is the way to be. I want a Carl Santana to do that too. And he did.
For those of you wondering.
Yeah, when was the last time Hunter was over 230?
Well, last year is 236.
Oh, he was okay, there we go. He was 236 last year.
Okay. He's had 2 years where he's been over 230.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
So don't act like
I'm not. Oh, trust me, I'm not. I'm assuming you're going under.
You can't be this terrible, bud. I'm gonna go with over 230.
He can do it. Can he be like he was last year?
Can't be that terrible.
Yeah.
You can't. Alrighty. Your boy, Michael Massey.
The Massinator.
I don't
That's not his nickname. I just said it, and
please don't say that.
It didn't feel good. That was a shot off the top of the backboard. We're letting that go.
Over under homers 10.5.
Ooh, 10.5. I'm gonna go over. Again, it might be an over by like 11 or 12, but I'm gonna go over. I think Massey can find a little pop.
Massey had 4 homers in 52 games last year.
He did. His projections, if you take the 62 games, would have been 7.
I'm gonna take the under until he does it.
That's fair.
I'm gonna take the under.
That's fair, my man. That's fair, brother.
Okay. Stolen bases 20.
Stolen bases 20. God.
He had a whopping 3 last year.
Yeah, he did. He didn't run a ton. I'm gonna go under. It's one of those where I think it's gonna get close to the line of like 18 to 19, but I'm gonna go under.
Alrighty. OPS plus.
Are you going over under on stolen bases?
Oh, under.
Thought so, but I gotta ask.
Yeah. OPS plus 100. Is he an average baseball player?
Over. He was that last year. I think you can do it again.
Last year, Michael Massey.
It's 103, right? Or no, he was 93.
93.
He was under last year.
Yeah.
I think he can get better and get to 100.
I'm going to take
the point.
The under.
Oh, okay. All right, negative Nelly.
Under.
All right, negative Nelly.
No, I'm not positive on this team. I understand.
All right, negative Nelly.
Earth shattering.
All right, negative Nelly.
Very simple one for the next 3. Over under 80 games played for Edward Olivares.
I'm going to go over. I think Ollie has some good health fortune this year and hits well enough that he's going to be the starting left fielder like for most of the year.
When you say good health fortune, that means he's going to do something he's never done in his entire career.
Yeah.
Okay. I
want to also add part of the reason Ollie's never played 80 games in a year as well is not entirely just health. It was when he was turning the highway between Omaha and Kansas City into the Edward Olivares Memorial Highway.
But if he was good enough, he would have played.
Except he was, but they were just being stupid.
Well, I'm just. So
he's going to play over 80 games.
He's going to play over 80 games?
Yes.
I'm going to go over just for the sheer hope that I hope that's the case. Nicky Lopez, over under OPS plus of 60.
Under. I think he is such a utility role player this year. He doesn't get a lot of at-bats. He's going to be a super utility this year. He will not be a regular starter.
That could benefit him.
It might. I don't think it will. I also don't like the way Nicky Lopez's swing profile is. He's a singles hitter that doesn't play in today's game.
Do you realize how low 60 is?
Yes, I do. That's 40% worse than the league average. Yes, I know that is. Listen, Nicky seems like a great guy, and he's a good defender, man. But no, he's not good at the plate.
I gotta go under, man. He's only done it one time.
Yeah,
That's it.
and it was a fluky season.
Alrighty, over under. Last one. All right,
let's do it.
Franmil Reyes. He'll be the DH opening day.
We assume.
I'm assuming that's the case.
Yeah.
19.5 dingers.
Give me the over on Big Franmil. I think he has a bounce back here.
I'm with you. I think he's going to hit the
He's
dingers.
got the pop in the bat.
Yeah.
I think the Royals coaching staff can get him to tighten up the swing decisions. Well, again, this might be he gets 20 to 21, but I think Franmil can get over 19.5. I really think he can. I think Franmil is going to have a good year. I loved the signing when they made it. It's worked out well in the spring. I really like what Franmil can bring to this team.
So you're going to have 5 guys hit over 20 home runs for the Royals.
I think this lineup has some good pop.
Oh, baby. We'll have to keep track. We'll keep track of these at the quarter polls of each section. So when we get to the, 30 game mark, we get to the 60 game mark, that type of thing, or around 40 game mark, we will see.
We'll revisit and see where we're at, see how we're pacing.
How we're doing. Coming up next, little odds makers here on Mic'd Up. Opening day at the K on Thursday. What are the odds Royals lose 100 games?
3%.
3%.
3%.
3%. Do you know that I have looked up the over-under is 69.5?
Mm-hmm.
And every single bettor that I've seen, and I want to say I've looked at least 6 or 7 of them. All of them are like, yeah, lean the under. So if they're leaning the under,
y'all can be negative. I'm gonna make some money.
You're gonna make some money. Lock.
Y'all can be negative. I'm gonna make some money.
Y'all be negative. Fulton says,
For what's worth, I'm tracking. This is the second time you've asked me this question. I assume we're about to start racking up how many often this question's asked. Back on March 6th, the beginning of this month, I said 5%.
So you're even that Dozier home runs, man. They got you. That Dozier Kool-Aid.
2% change in a month. Honestly, I thought I would have changed it more at this point, but hey, I've already started a little bit on the coaster.
I'm gonna be at 15%.
Okay, that's fair.
What was I at last time?
I didn't mark you. You said just to mark me, so I didn't mark you. I can go back and find the audio. That's not hard.
15. That might lean 20.
It's okay. Be a negative Nelly.
Well, it's called realism.
Okay, be a negative Nancy.
All right. So when you don't win the lottery, you're a negative Nancy.
No, because I don't think this is a lottery odds question.
Okay. No,
but okay, you're being negative Nancy.
So be it if you're gonna call me that one.
Just saying. We'll go to college basketball for mine here, Jake. What are the odds UConn wins the national championship?
70%.
That's a good number.
Actually, no, I'll go 80%.
Really?
Yeah, 80%. I think they're going to beat Miami. I think whoever wins between Miami and UConn's going to win. I think they're going to beat FAU or SDSU. So I don't even think it's going to be close if they do. I think, no, give me 80% UConn.
I would go about 73. I think Brendan makes a good point. If UConn matches, if San Diego State beats Florida Atlantic and goes to the national title game, playing San Diego State is they just frustrate you, and they just turn it into an absolute junkyard fight. And teams that can do that, strange things happen. You know, can you stay focused enough to not get frustrated and thrown off your game because those guys are basically putting you in a schoolyard fight? So I still think it's UConn by like 73. I really think UConn should be the runaway favorite, but not be surprised me if someone else can knock them off.
I think they are playing so they're
playing well, man.
They are, I believe, the 7th team to win their first 3 games. 3 games? Or is it 4 games now? First 4 games by double digits or more. Because they've crushed Arkansas and Gonzaga. I don't know.
They beat the crap out of St. Mary's, I thought. Or did St. Mary's make that game closer than I remember? I feel like they beat the crap out of them.
They beat St. Mary's by 15.
And they beat Iona by 24.
Yeah. So they've crushed everybody. Yeah. They're the 7th team to beat everybody by double figures.
Yeah. They're good. UConn, very good. I say this not as a captain hindsight thing. It is if they were not in KU's bracket, I probably would have picked them to the Final Four.
Alrighty, final over our odds makers for you.
Yes.
What are the odds the Chiefs make a trade before draft day?
Oh boy. I say like 8%. I'm not feeling it. I don't know what they would do. I know DeAndre Hopkins is kind of a thing, but also they've not been reported in on him when more teams been reported as of late. I don't really see any like big trade on the market right now. They'd be working as an angle. So I just don't think there's a chance. I don't think it's very high.
I'm going to go about 15%. I don't think it is a high chance, and I don't think they're going to be moving anywhere. I think they feel comfortable where they're at. But yeah, I don't think, and it could just be make any type of trade. It could be a 7th round trade. It could be a 6th round trade. It doesn't really matter. Just make a trade. I think she's pretty much set when it comes to where they're at right now with, now they might sign somebody else, but I think trade wise, they won't.
Yeah, I think they could sign somebody else. I think that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Coming up, we'll finish things off. K-State and their revolving off-season roster. We'll get to that coming up next. This Tuesday edition. Tomorrow we'll get into more over-unders for the Royals, talk about potentially the Royals 25-man roster. What's that going to look like? Kind of some thoughts on the Royals. Fulton has you on Thursday and Friday. I am skedaddling. I'm going to be gone. So what did you call it?
I did not name it this, but there have been some people that have texted it and called it a dictatorship. A benevolent dictatorship. I am not an authoritarian in the negative way. I do not let myself get drunk with power.
I feel like that's not a thing for a dictatorship.
No, it's not. It's not, Jake. History tells us dictatorship always bad. Authoritarian, never good. But hey, as of now, I have not succumbed and started doing and committing war crimes yet. So, it's first time for everything.
Positive. That's positive.
The Royals could lose by 8 runs on Thursday, and then Friday, maybe I will commit some war crimes. Who knows? I won't be in a good place.
I want the Royals to win opening day, man.
I
really,
do too.
Do.
Thursday would be a party. Friday would be a party.
I need to know, can you gamble in Arizona? Can you sports gamble in Arizona?
I can look that up real quick.
Because that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to Arizona. That's interesting. Do I need to place all my futures bets before I leave?
Arizona sports gambling has been live and legal since September of 2021.
Right on.
And as of March of this year, which obviously is what we're happening right now, there are 17 legal online sports books in the Grand Canyon State. This is from ArizonaSportsBetting.com.
Nice. There we go.
So yes, Jake, you can bet sports in Arizona.
All right.
So you'll be fine.
On my mobile phone even?
I assume?
Sweet.
That's a different question, but I have to assume as long as they, use, FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, which I have to imagine they have a license. Which, I mean, let me go to betarizona.com and see if what sports books are legal in Arizona. While we're here.
This was on the YouTube stream real quick. Any update on Coach Self's health? Haven't heard anything since the Hawks exited the dance. No update.
No.
And I thought about that. There you go. Man, if they lose to Arkansas, we won't get an update from Bill in who knows how long. Now, I can tell you that they are talking to players, and players are being told something.
You have to assume.
I don't know. Like, I think the assumption of, Bill will be there, for X amount of years. I think you have to throw that out the window now.
Yeah, you really do.
Due to this health situation.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know. And the next time we'll get an update from Bill Self. I have absolutely no clue. Nothing is officially on the record, but nobody, even like the basketball people, are not even saying it. You know, the Gary Parishes and the Goodmans and you know, the CJ Moores of the world. Like, none of those people are even saying anything. And maybe Bill Self is doing that out of respect for the Final Four. Doesn't want to take away from, you know, the Final Four. You know, you're not supposed to do any news or signings or anything like that during Super Bowl week. It's supposed to be just about that. But I don't know. Somebody asked me, they go, do you think he'll retire? And I said, if he does, I won't be shocked.
No.
I mean, when you get 2 stints put in, we don't, you know, he stays doing great, doing all that. I think they were more positive. I don't think there was I don't think that there was a chance that he was going to coach in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. I think there was a chance. I think that's just my hunch, my gut, that they're like trying to be super positive and like, oh, he's getting better day by day, you know, kind of like the Andy Reid situation, you know, like, oh, he's doing better. They're going to portray that publicly, but I think that there was no chance that he was going to coach.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, and I'm kind of with you there, and we'll just have to kind of see what it'll be. I wouldn't be surprised if for health reasons Bill decides to hang it up. Like, coaching is demanding. It is demanding. It is rigorous. It takes a lot out of you, and it's not worth your health. And if Bill deems that continuing to coach would be detrimental to his health and, you know, take some years off, I don't blame a guy at 6 years old going, no, I want to spend time with my family and be around longer. Like, he has not left to prove how great of a coach he is. He's a Hall of Famer, man. He's already there.
From the text line, Self, as I'm operating under the assumption that no news is good news. Man, that's true. I mean, I think that is a fine way to operate. Unless you are super plugged in to the team and you know, no one's gonna know about this.
No.
So it is. This is something that's not being talked about enough. But you can't. I mean, we've addressed it right now, but there's really nothing else to address. I mean, if you want to go with who would you hire if Bill decides to hang him up, but I don't. That's
a question that could eventually be floated around, but as of now, it doesn't need to be posed.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think you should. I think you should always, you know. I think if you're an AD, you should always
have a short list.
Have a short list everywhere.
Nate Nose probably used to be at the top of that short list,
and he still might be. I have no idea.
He could be.
I would not.
I wouldn't have it on the top of my short list, but I'm not an AD.
Speaking of coaches, I would not have hired Rodney Terry to be the head coach in Texas.
No, Texas, that's going to blow up in your face, and I'm going to laugh the entire way.
I don't know if it'll blow up.
Oh, it's going to blow up.
I look at it this way. They didn't even do a search.
Nope.
You're Texas.
Yep.
I think most of the time the interim guy normally isn't
the long-term guy
and the right guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rodney Terry's a great assistant coach. That team was built by Chris Beard. They went and played for Chris Beard. They did not go there and play for Rodney Terry. There's a difference there.
They were also kind of coaching themselves on the floor multiple times last year.
The other aspect is, you know, do you go to coach for, or do you go play for Bill Self, or do you go play for Norm Roberts? No, you go play for Bill Self. That's why I think there's a big disconnect there.
Yeah.
I would not hire Rodney Terry, but I will say this: they're going in 2 years. They're going to be in a easier basketball conference, and maybe it will make it a little bit easier.
Maybe,
but I would. You're Texas. Go open it up, and then if Rodney Terry's the best guy,
then you hire Rodney Terry.
No,
I agree.
Coming up next, we'll wrap things up with the mic drop. Fulton, what do you got for your mic drop?
It's very simple. Opening day is just a few days away. Spring training wrapping up today. It's the Royals' final spring training games. For most teams, their final spring training games. And Brady Singer was excellent yet again. One more time. He's had a really good spring. I'm so excited to see what Brady does in year 2 of actually like being a confident, ready to go pitcher with 3 pitches that are very good and just feeling himself.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm so excited.
So if Brady Singer improved under Cal Eldred,
imagine what he does with a real pitching coach.
What?
Who actually knows what he's doing.
What?
Yeah.
Cy Young?
We're not going to go that far. That'd be really cool. We're not going to go that far.
Top 10 ERA?
We're not going to go that far. Let's pump the brakes. We're even reaching the bounds of my craziness here, buddy. Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
That's going to be one of my over-unders. Over-under tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Top 15 ERA.
I'm about to start thinking what the
pitchers.
ERAs were last year. Maybe my answer's different.
How about that? My mic drop is you can argue that Kansas State right now has a better roster than KU. That's incredible. It really is. Coming up, we got 580 Sports Talk. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon here on Mic'd Up. Have yourselves a great rest of your afternoon.